What's up, guys? It's your Money Cat. This video will be an update to the previous Alibaba video as new news. More news have come out since then, and the stock has moved accordingly. So we'll take a look at the charts as well to update it and see where it might go next. So news came out that Alibaba will not be included in the ban list of Chinese companies. So American investors can continue to pour their money into this stock and be okay with it. Obviously, this is a positive news for Alibaba. So it jumped 7% that following day. And today, it also went up somewhere between 3 to 4% today as well. Similarly, the other two big Chinese companies, Tencent and Baidu, were left off of the list. And this goes along with the theory that although this ban list is kind of a US's warning to China, they're not too serious about it. They're not willing to go that far to ban the actual big Chinese companies. They're banning companies like China Mobile, China Telecom. I'm not too familiar with those companies. They're probably mid to large companies in China, but definitely less people have heard of these companies compared to the Tencents, the Baidus, and Alibabas. A possible reason for leaving these companies off the list, we kind of talked about it in the last video, but these are really large companies where many American investors are invested into. So if this suddenly goes, off the stock market, then there could be large sell-offs and negative economic impact as well as political impact. So again, I don't think it's very likely that these larger Chinese companies will be added onto the list. Having said that, keep in mind that US has changed its mind 2 to 3 times this past week about this. So come next week, they might be singing a different tune. They're very fickle about this, and I'm not trying to put down this obviously positive news for Alibaba, but I think it's just good to not to get too overexcited or not to get downtrodden about anything when it comes to stocks. One more very interesting news about Alibaba: they launched the electrical vehicle with another company, SAIC Motor. It's China's largest car company. So they worked together and they released this electrical sedan. It'll be under a new brand called IM, and the vehicles will be going on sales or taking orders beginning in April. As you know, electrical vehicles are the hottest thing in the stock market right now, led by Tesla. So obviously this is a positive spin for Alibaba, but one, because it's a combined effort with another company, and two, it looks like they're just getting off the ground. They haven't started taking orders yet. It'll begin in April. So while it's obviously a positive catalyst for Alibaba, I don't think it'll have a sudden, immediate impact to the stock price. I would take this news kind of like Apple's iCar. It's going to be positive, probably somewhere down the line, but not immediately, and you're not really banking on this to be the main driver of the company, Apple or Alibaba. They each have their own moneymaker, and this is kind of cherry on top. It's like a card in your back pocket. Maybe not like an ace, but maybe like a queen. Now let's take a look at the chart for Alibaba. This is the 180 days 4-hour time frame chart, zoomed into the current downtrend that we are in. With big gains in the last 2 days, looks like the trend is almost reversed. And I say almost because we're at the cusp of either getting rejected or breaking to the upside. First, the good news. For the majority of the time, we've been under, or we as in the stock price, has been under this yellow line, which is the 50-day moving average. But we were able to peek our head above the 50-day moving average. So now the price is above that average line, which means it's, for the time being, it is headed upwards. Secondly, we also broke above this red line, this downtrend line that I've drawn in. Now we're just barely above it right now, so it's hard to say that we've definitely cleared it. We'll have a better idea tomorrow, but it's good to see price going above the trend line. Tomorrow will be very important for Alibaba as the price currently sits at right around here. Okay, so this means a couple things. Number one, it's a little higher, but it's pretty much at where the price got rejected after this local initial downward jump. So the price went down big time and then it bounced, and this is where we got rejected. So there's definitely some resistance right about where we are, around 242, 243. Secondly, this has filled this gap, so we'll know whether this gap filling means we fill the gap and get rejected, or we actually fill the gap and in doing so reverse the trend. I've also started to draw an upward trend line marked at the bottom by here and bouncing off of here. Now this isn't an exact trend line yet because to make a trend line, at least 3 points need to touch that trend line. So we have 1 and then we have 2. So if price either if it gets rejected, right, and goes down here and it bounces off that line, then this will be confirmed as a trend line. If it continues to go up, then we really have no issue to worry about because it's going up. Lastly, on this chart, take a look at the RSI. It is at 67.6266. So it's pretty high up there, getting to the 70, which is the overbought region. However, I'm not too worried about this because if we look at the 1-year daily chart, the MACD has crossed over like we talked about in the previous video, and it seems to be making so far a very healthy trend reversal. The green bars on the MACD are increasing, which signifies increasing positive momentum. It looks like the MACD has turned the corner and it's got all this room to continue ascending. RSI on this time frame right now, it's kind of middle of the road, but definitely headed to the upward direction. So for now, I think we can assume one of 2 scenarios. Scenario number 1, it completes filling this gap and continues to drive up. This is the obviously best case scenario and it keeps everything really simple. However, life is not that simple. So scenario number 2, we get rejected off of this local resistance and we dip down a little bit, but we bounce off of that trend line I mentioned, completing or confirming that trend line. So once, twice, and then 3 times right around here, and then it continues to go up. If that's the case, we will be extending this upward trend line and watching out for that for possible support. So if we assume in either of the scenarios, stock price will go up sooner or later, then where can we see potential resistances? I see a very strong resistance right around here, which is, I would say 250, maybe between 250 and 255. So first you have the previous support turning into now resistance. This line supported the price once here, 2 times here, and 3 times before breaking down with a huge gap. So when the price comes up to around that level, then it'll be now facing it as a resistance. Furthermore, on this chart, you have 2 moving averages converging around that point. You have the green line right here, which is the 180 days moving average, and then you have the yellow line, which is the 50-day moving average, and both are very close right now. And maybe in a day or early next week, it looks like they'll converge right around the same level, around 255. So since the price is coming up from below, those 2 lines will also act as resistance. I think this will be the real test because we have 3 very strong potential resistances all gathering at one place. But that also means once we're able to break above these resistances, then we should be able to make pretty quick progress until the next resistance, which should be around this level. That's around 280. Again, that is where previous resistance was after another bounce, as well as the gap is right here. So anytime there's a gap, the price either comes right up to it or fills it, and then there's a potential to be rejected right around there. Again, the 250, 255 range is the key point here, because if we are able to get over that, we'll definitely be in a bullish trend again. So not too worried about all this up here, but if we get rejected around that place, then there is a potential to bounce off of this trend line and continue the upward trend, but there's also a chance that we kind of go into a horizontally channeling pattern. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all your support. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. With that said, I'm your Money Cat, and I'll see you next time.